Hello, and welcome to Spiritual Conversation, honest and joyful explorations of ideas to help us align with our true spiritual purpose and live our best lives. I am your host, Jacqueline Clare, Mermaid of the Airwaves, here to take your hand and go on some deep dives together. And today I have a super special guest. I am really excited to introduce you to Susie Viveral, who is the CEO and founder of a nonprofit organization that focuses on transforming the rooms of children who have faced sexual or physical abuse, called Room Redux. Room Redux believes that a new room helps create a fresh start for these children and has its global headquarters right here in my hometown of New Braunfels. Susie has degrees in psychology and is currently working on a book regarding child abuse awareness and both the challenges of starting a nonprofit from the ground up, as well as the joys of expanding worldwide. In addition to these endeavors, Susie has a jazz rock band, Salubrious Fox, and is a member of Texas Women for Children through the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, as well as the Peace Ambassador for Texas through the Global Peace Challenge. Susie, welcome, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jacqueline. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, I was so excited to meet you, of course, and when I first read your article in one of the local publications, and I would love it if you would just tell our listeners a little bit more about Room Redux, what you guys do.
Absolutely. So our goal, our main mission is to truly give children who have faced abuse a fresh start. We know that it's very important to make sure that a child's environment is safe and that it feels like their sanctuary. And when a child has faced abuse and then they're going back to a room where abuse has occurred or there are triggers, things like that, it can be very detrimental to their healing. You know, they're getting counseling, they're in counseling for the trauma, but then they're going back to this room that they don't want to sleep in, they don't want to keep clean, they don't want to have friends over. And so our main mission is to completely transform the child's room, all the way down to changing the way the furniture is in the room, you know, the position of the bed, things like that, to give them a completely new perspective so they can look out, you know, into the world through a new lens. They come to know that there are people that care about them who don't even know them and who expect nothing from them. And it's wonderful.
Wow, totally. That's a really good point about even, where they're facing when they wake up, like how you take everything into account to help create a totally new space for them. And that reminder that there are people who care about them that expect nothing from them and they don't even know who they are.
Exactly. And you know, every room is very, very specifically tailored. There is no cookie cutter transformation ever. We find out exactly what the child or children like, what colors they love, what colors they don't love, what their hobbies are, what they would like in their room. A lot of children, you know, want a TV or an Xbox, things like that. One of the most recent room transformations, the young girl wanted a mini fridge. So yeah, we put a mini fridge in her room. So it's very specifically tailored, and even therapeutic tools, which is why it's important that we make sure that the child is in counseling or has been through counseling, because we do talk to the therapist and find out what type of therapeutic tools they're using in therapy. Is it squishies? Is it water features? Is it punching bags? You know, what will help the child when they're in their own space, if they're feeling down or depressed or fearful. So we make sure and put therapeutic tools in there, and we also put their names in their rooms so they realize these are mine. These things are mine. This is my room. Powerful.
It's a surprise, right, for the kids?
Yes.
So how do you, find out that it's like they really want a mini fridge and that sort of thing?
Well, when I speak to the parent or the caregiver, once the referral has been made, then I find out from the person. They usually know what their child would like. The children usually are pretty vocal about what they would like in
Hmm.
their room, or I wish I had this. And I'll tell them, just do it covertly. If you need to find out and you don't know exactly, over the next few weeks, if you think of anything, just let me know. You're talking to them and you find out, look at Pinterest together, things like that, get some ideas. But yeah, it's a surprise. Part of that is so that, you know, again, they know that, like I said, people care that don't even know them. But sometimes too, we'll tell the parent to tell them they did it if they want. It may help repair the relationship. Maybe there's been some damage or lack of trust, or they didn't feel like they were protected by the caregiver. So they can tell them they did it. But part of the reason too it's a surprise is because children very often, if you're to tell a child this these people are going to transform your room soon, it doesn't matter even if they have a complete perfect sense of time, they're still going to expect it. And so that's why we do it as a surprise. The only time we don't is if the caregiver or the therapist feels like it might be detrimental to their healing. If there's a child who is riddled with anxiety or fear of change, things like that, then we just ask the caregiver or the parent, to not tell them until maybe the week of.
Hmm.
And even then, be very, don't tell them a whole lot. Just, there are going to be some changes in your room, and this is going to happen, just to prepare them a little bit. But usually, yeah, it's a surprise, which is a lot of fun for the child.
Oh, I bet. I bet. And just so our listeners know, I will have links below so you can see their Facebook where they post all their transformations, and their websites. Very beautiful, fun rooms. I can certainly imagine that it's exciting. And, I'm sure the child doesn't necessarily realize that it's like to facilitate their healing. It's just something fun and wonderful that happened for them.
Right. And then the feedback we get, very often parents or caregivers will send me pictures or videos of when the child first sees their room, which we don't share. Everything is highly confidential. We show before and afters of the room transformations, but if there are pictures or names, we blur them out, and we never show the child. But very often I get to see, and it's always tears and amazement, and they're just in disbelief. And I've also found out, that they're keeping their room clean now, or they're sleeping in their room, or they have friends over. They feel safer. They're not harming themselves. They feel like this is truly my sanctuary and I am worthy. I deserve this.
Hmm. What is the age range for the bulk of your work, the children's rooms that you do?
We say 0 to 17. Part of the reason we say 0 now is because last year we transformed 3 rooms in one house, and it was 6 children and 2 adults, but it was actually 5 children. And then the mother was pregnant, and the baby was born 2 days after the transformation. So that
I
baby
see.
yes, that baby got a brand new crib, brand new, beautiful little area in the mom's room. So we go up to 17 years old. However, if there is an older child or an adult in the house and we have enough donations, then we're going to give them something as well. It may be just some decor or some sachets, or something to help them out.
Hmm.
And we've actually been talking about possibly helping children who have been in kinship or even in foster placement, who are aging out and don't have anything. They're having to move out and start their life. So we're talking about trying to facilitate that as well. That's in the works.
Is there like an average age,
That is a
like a
good
more
question.
common? Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like I have not put the numbers together recently after 30, I think it's 36 room transformations we're up to, but
Wow.
yeah, I would say usually just offhand, teenage girls, a
Okay.
lot of a lot of teenage girls, usually around say 13 to 15.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Yeah, but as we do more room transformations, for instance, last weekend we had 3 room transformations in 3 different states. Denver, California, so Denver, Colorado, Sacramento, California, and San Antonio, Texas. And then this coming Saturday, we have one in New Braunfels, Texas, and in Bay Area, California. So the stats come in fast.
Mm-hmm.
They're changing constantly, which
Mm-hmm.
is a good thing.
That's that's awesome that you are reaching so many people. And that age, 13 to 15, you know, it's really, those are really where some paramount decisions are being made about like what kind of person you're going to
Mm,
be. Like they're so on the precipice of adulthood, and it's like they're old enough to make choices. And often, I mean, it's not uncommon for rather poor choices to be made if they're working from a place of pain or something. So that's really so powerful that you kind of provide that net and that cushion for them at that age.
right. And you're exactly right. Every child reacts differently to sexual abuse, physical abuse, neglect, trauma. You know, some will become very promiscuous. Some become very, they want to be hidden. They want to hide themselves. They cover up. So it just runs the gambit, the effects of abuse on children. And what our ultimate goal really and truly is to help change the trajectory of these children's lives, for them to realize that maybe the world is not such a scary place. Not everybody is out to get them, which is a perception that a lot of them come away with after abuse naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's our long-term goal for these children.
Do you have a favorite story of like feedback you've received after doing one of these rooms, or, you know, something you heard about the child sometime afterwards? Any stories of healing?
So many stories, Jacqueline.
Yeah,
And it's
good.
funny because people always ask me, so which is your favorite room transformation? Which one's your favorite? But because everyone is so specifically tailored to each child and so unique, it's like trying to figure out, you know, who's your favorite child, which I have one. I have one son, so that's easy. But I, I love them all. But stories, one of my favorites is early on. I believe it was our one, two, three, our 5th room transformation. And this young boy, he and his mother lived alone, and I think he was a victim, and so was she, of physical abuse. And they had a kind of a hoarding situation going on, just, you know, where they would throw things, pile clothes up on their beds, things would get knocked over, they would just kind of stay that way. And after his room transformation, he asked his mother if he could stay home from school. And she said, of course not. You can't just stay home from school to enjoy your new room. And he said, no, Mom, I feel so good and so, my mind feels so clear and uncluttered. I want to help you clean the whole house.
Hmm.
And so Jamie, who is now our volunteer coordinator, she told me 2 weeks later, she said, my goodness, I can walk through their house now. They've really cleaned it. They've really gone to the care of taking care of their home. So, you know, that is just one of my favorite stories, because it's not only the child who's been being affected, it's the entire family. The
Mm-hmm.
mother had, you know, this, I think she felt like, oh, I've got somebody who cares about me as well. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
care about my child, they care about me, they care about our well-being. So that's one of my favorites. And then another of my favorites is, it was this year, it was our Blossom room transformation. And that wonderful mother and her beautiful daughter want to volunteer. They love Room Redux so much. She actually told her, Room Redux did this. These people love you, and they did this. And so now this almost 14-year-old girl wants to help, wants to volunteer and help other children. And that's huge. That makes me want to cry.
Totally. I teared up. That's
I know, me too.
amazing. That is amazing. Both of those stories, like how with the boy and his mother, like how one positive thing
Yes.
helped empower them, like because you guys came in and gave them this gift, then the boy and his mom were like, hey, we can go even further and we can keep opening up our space and honoring ourselves by living in a place that's like more dignified, and it shows that we care, and then we have all these benefits of probably like clearer thoughts and stuff. I know I'm a better thinker when I have like organization and stuff. And then the girl, like, that just shows how amazing people, and especially young people, are, and how it's just about giving them enough tools and help to be able to shine their light, and then just they will. That's so cool.
Exactly. They're, children are just like we are. They don't know what they don't know. And if they're in a situation that is not ideal, and whether it's organization or it's cleanliness or it's, put, I don't know, seeing that things can be different. If they don't know, then they don't know. And so it's wonderful to be able to help them and help them see that it can be different. And the parents too, the caregivers as well.
Right. So, Susie, how did this start? What gave you the idea? And yeah, just what was the inspiration?
Well, I have a background in psychology, and I have my master's. I'm currently working on my doctorate. And I used to be a family advocate at an advocacy center, and I would hear children's stories every day, their stories of abuse. But I would sit with the caregivers or the parents when they would bring the children to counseling, and I would hear about how wonderful the counseling is and how great it's working for them, but then how, they're not sleeping in their bed, or if they're scared of the dark, just all different kinds of stories. And so we decided, this is the perfect way to help these children when they're at home too. They're getting that part of the healing puzzle, that counseling that is so important, that therapy to work through this trauma. Let's help them in their homes as well. And since it was a spark in my mind, I knew that every child deserves a fresh start, no matter where they are. Yes, we started right here in New Braunfels, Texas. This is world headquarters now. We have 21 chapters across America, and one in the UK that has just started on the Isle of Wight. So the ultimate goal is to help every single child everywhere.
Wow. Well, can you tell me a little bit more about the expansion and, all the places you are and how that's kind of developed?
It's been amazing. It's like a snowball. It just keeps piling up and piling up in the best way. And, we started in 2017, and then 2018, we did 3 rooms. And then last year is when we were featured in the Skim. And that is when a lot of people sat up and took notice and emailed me wanting to start chapters or be involved in some way. And so and then along with podcasts and along with television and word of mouth and social media, it has just spread. We have, let's see, I'm going to name them. I have to go around. I have to go around the whole nation here. So New Braunfels, of course, Austin, Dallas, San Antonio, Sacramento, California, Bay Area, California, Willamette Valley, Oregon, Minnesota, St. Louis, Mid-Missouri, New York, North Carolina, Orlando, Atlanta, Shreveport, Bossier City, Phoenix, Isle of Wight, North Carolina. Did I say that already? I don't want to forget anybody. They're a bunch, and it is amazing because these people have a huge heart for children, and they just want to help them. And yeah, it's growing like crazy. It's exciting.
Yeah. And tell us about the organization now that has you listed as um, a resource.
Yes, yes. So apparently there was a law enforcement conference, a virtual law enforcement conference. And so I think it was last month, and we've heard from some detectives and some investigators in different parts of the country who want to be involved. And a couple have started chapters now, which is amazing.
Mhm.
And then we are also now a resource for the FBI. So children who have been sex trafficked or have been abducted, you know, they can refer these children to us so that we can help them have a fresh start as well.
Mhm.
And it's really exciting. And we're hoping to also be a resource for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children as well. I was able to go and speak to them last year, which was amazing. And so to be able to help even more children who have faced abuse or sex trafficking, abduction, things like that, that's our ultimate goal, to work with
Mhm.
entities.
Mhm. That's really exciting, Susie. And that I didn't know that specifically when I first learned about Room Redux, but that's so thrilling and so cool. But what did really attract me was, in the last several years, I have become much more aware of the issues of sex trafficking and child exploitation. And there's lots of organizations out there that work to rescue and rehabilitate, and they're wonderful, and I've donated to them and that sort of thing. But there's always like a level of like, well, you know I just have to trust that this organization is on the up and up. And you kind of it's kind of like a big abyss, because there has to be so much privacy, of course. But it's just kind of like crossing your fingers, like, well, I hope I'm helping.
Right.
And there was something so uh, tangible, so humble and tangible and direct about Room Redux, like it's real children. They're, obviously you're never going to know who they are, but the places in the world where you guys are doing your work, and you're offering this like very specific um, and major benefit to their healing process. It's just so tangible.
Right. And you hit the nail on the head with the word tangible. That's that's the exact word that I use, because I feel like when people can put their hands on a project, these volunteers that show up, my goodness, they'll come. Every volunteer has to have a background check, of course, but then they show up for room transformations. They're there at 8 a.m. And we say you can come in shifts, but many times volunteers come and they are there at 8 and they are there till we are done, because they want to know that they had that hand in helping this room transformation come to fruition.
Hmm.
And so, and even if volunteers can't be there at an actual room transformation, volunteers can come and help beforehand, come help sand and paint furniture, because we get donations all the time. And some of these donations are absolutely gorgeous and perfect for room transformations, things that I'm not just going to be able to go get, at IKEA or wherever. I mean, we shop local as well. We love to shop, stores that are local, but when people donate things and I just know they're perfect in a room, volunteers can come help do that. And so there's so many different ways to be involved. We have Amazon Smile. So that's a great way for people to be involved too, because then you know that on that wish list for that specific room, that lamp that you buy, you're going to see it in the after pictures. It's going to be in the pictures.
Hmm.
So that's it's just been really fun, especially during these past strange months in 2020.
Hmm.
People are online shopping a lot more often, so it's great for them to be able to do that and know that they're giving back and know that they're helping these children directly.
Right. Well, I just want to let our listeners know that on December 13th, you have a virtual silent auction, and I will have links in the show notes for that. And also on roomredux.org, there's a whole tab called Get Involved, which has information about volunteering and, of course, all the different places where you're located.
Mhm. Yep.
So,
And actually, that December 13th, so that week leading up to December 13th, that whole week, I believe it starts on December 6th, is the silent auction for different chapters. So, for instance, New Braunfels, we're going to have a silent auction December 6th through the 13th. And so businesses can donate. We've had a whole lot of donations so far. You can donate something for the silent auction. And then on that Sunday, December 13th, is the live auction. So there will be live auction items such as trips, jewelry, big ticket items that you can bid on. So it's going to be a
wow.
lot of fun. I'm excited.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, that sounds really exciting. Any other notes directly from you on how people can support you financially or, with their physical presence and labor, like as volunteers? What are some of their options?
So if you're interested in volunteering, you can go to roomredux.org/volunteer, or you can go to each, whichever chapter, wherever you're located, and click volunteer that way. And like I said, all you need is a background check. It's $23.99, and then you're good to go. We also are always in need of recurring donors. So it takes anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 to fully transform a child's room. And that is dependent on, are we putting down new flooring? A lot of times they don't have flooring. Our room transformation in New Braunfels, Texas, this Saturday, the floor is plywood.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the ground. There is no flooring. So we will be putting flooring down. We will be painting. It's also dependent on how many children are in the room. If there are 3 children in a room, which we have transformed rooms with 3 children in, then it's 3 of everything. We're very, very blessed because we do have places that donate. So we have, for instance, New Braunfels Flooring, they donate flooring. CertaPro painters, they donate the paint through Sherwin-Williams. So those kind of things are wonderful. Anybody who wants to donate in any way such as that, come on. If you want to become a recurring donor, you can go to roomredux.org/donate and you can become a recurring donor. And every single dollar helps. We have donors who donate, $200 a month, and there are some that donate $25 a month, and every single dollar is going toward room transformations, and we appreciate it very much.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, no doubt. It always adds up. So whatever people can offer. Can you tell us a little bit about 2020 and how it has affected Room Redux and also the work that you do? I think it was in your article, but it also is very understandable that 2020 with the restrictions and less in-person opportunities for children to be with a teacher, an outside force, that there's a increase in abuse and then even more layers of silence around that. So can you speak a little of all the different ways that 2020 has affected your work?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Jacqueline. It's been hard in my mind to know that these children are now sequestered with their abusers.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've applied for a lot of grants. I feel like a lot of grants have gone toward healthcare, toward COVID, which is great. But I also know that once children are back in school, really, really full time, and people are able to put their eyes on these children and listen to what they have to say, there are going to be a lot of outcries. It's just bound to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, I know that 2021, we're going to have our hands full. We've always said we would like to do 1 room transformation per chapter per month. I feel like as grants do start to come our way, which they will, then it's probably going to go up to probably 2 or 3 per month, which is great because that just means we're helping more children. Now, at the beginning of this year, we had to put our room transformations on hold. So we had one set for March, we had one set for April. We didn't get to do them until May. And we just have had to work around that. We all wear masks. We limit the number of people that are in the room at one time. We have hand washing stations, all of that. We just knew that it wasn't going to be something that we were not going to do. We were going to keep it because these children need it and deserve it. And so we have figured out how to do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And also, can you tell us a little bit more about the referral process? If someone is like, hey, I want to work with Room Redux, or I want to, recommend a candidate, or I am a counselor, like how do people connect with you for the room transformations?
So counselors, caseworkers, law enforcement, communities and schools, CPS, you can go on our website, roomredux.org/refer a candidate, and there's a form you fill out and you refer that child. Now, for people who are listening to, for instance, listening to this podcast and they're thinking, oh my goodness, I know a child who deserves a room transformation, or maybe, my child deserves a room transformation, then write us, refer. The only thing is we need to make sure that your child is in counseling or has been through counseling.
Mm-hmm.
That part of the healing puzzle is crucial for their healing. So as long as that's the case, then they are perfect candidates for room transformation.
That's exciting. Well, I just want to remind everyone that you can donate on a recurring basis or a one-time basis through their website on roomredux.org and the donate tab, and I'll have links below. And that there's also the auction going on December 6th through 13th with the big event on the 13th, and that this is just such an amazing cause and everything helps and everything makes a difference to this process, and that there's also lots of ways that people can be involved, and that's all on the website as well. Susie, it was really great to talk to you, and I'm just so happy that you are doing the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Jacqueline. I will say what we say with Room Redux is we are Room Redux. So if you have listened to this podcast, or you have shared, liked on social media, volunteered, donated time, money, furniture, books, or art, Jacqueline, then you are Room Redux. So thank you. Thank you for being Room Redux, because your art is amazing and I can't wait to see your book in person.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm excited about that. And I'm excited that this little project, my Noble Beings book, that I put a lot of love in, and even the quotes are handwritten in the book, like everything I did myself. And
wow.
And when I was doing it, and part of that is just that I was like learning as I was going along. There's maybe easier ways to do things, but I kind of just had to do it the long form way. And I really consciously thought like, well, okay, maybe it's a little extra work to write this out 5 times by hand and make sure the I's on the, are dotted properly. But I thought, I'm writing like love notes to children, and I don't even know who they are and who's going to get it, but this is my love note to them, and I hope it blesses their lives. So the fact that you guys have embraced, having some of these books on hand to put in the books to put in their rooms is just like such a blessing for me. So thank you.
Just so special. And that's one thing I forgot to mention is we love to put original art in children's rooms, whether it is a print, a painting, a book, an Afghan, no matter what it is, it's those special touches. Even if the child doesn't know, it's still, we know. And I always make sure and tell the parent or caregiver, this is special. This is for her, or this is for him. So yeah,
Neat.
even that more special. So thank you so much for being Room Redux, Jacqueline.
Yeah, and other people can be Room Redux as well. I just want to like keep emphasizing that
Yes.
if you can donate, or if you are an artist and you have something that you want to share, you know, to be put in there, just go to the website and contact Susie or her volunteer coordinators and become Room Redux. Thanks so much, Susie.
Yes. Thank you, Jacqueline.
Hey, podcast listener. I hope you enjoyed my interview with Susie as much as I did. Room Redux really is an awesome organization doing some very practical good for some of the people in the world who need it the most. Once again, there are links below for all of their information if you want to find a way to be involved in Room Redux. And I want to remind you that December 8th, so exactly a week from today's air date, is the final day to order Noble Beings Spiritual Handbook for Children of all ages on Indiegogo. This book is just the light of my life. I've put so much of my heart and soul into it, and it represents, you know, all of my favorite things, the joy of childhood and laughter and play, and the wisdom and beauty and true joy of the Baha'i writings. It is for people of all ages and all faiths. And I would love it if you would pick up a copy, and you can also have copies donated in your honor to the children that Room Redux serves. So that is also an option if you would like to give some spiritual inspiration and joyful illustrations and quotes from the Baha'i writings to children who are recovering from trauma and abuse. I think that would be an awesome cause. So once again, December 8th, links below. These podcast episodes are released every other Tuesday. The next episode will be December 15th, and it'll be my personal thoughts on the not so great reset. I'll catch you next time. And until then, I wish you the best for playing your part in making this world a better place.